Well, hello and welcome to the Famous Computer Cafe. My name is Andy Velkoff, and for the next 30 minutes, we're going to be talking about personal computers and technology. Michael, who's the guest on today?
Our guest today is Bill Atkinson. Now, the neat thing about Bill is he's with the design team for the Macintosh group for Apple computers. And the thing that's so neat about him is he also designed Mac Paint, but he's got so many things. I can't wait to ask him a lot of questions.
Man, I think the Macintosh is an incredible machine.
It's a revolutionary machine.
Well, we're going to have a little news from Ellen right after this message, and then on to Michael and Bill. So you guys want to stay tuned, and we'll be right back after this.
Word gets around fast.
Word from Microsoft is quickly becoming the word processing program of choice because Word is faster and easier. Most commands are executed in a single keystroke, and with Microsoft's mouse, not even a keystroke is needed. Just point and click.
Would you like to reword that?
Sure. If you've ever had to search through a 50-page document to change one word, you can appreciate Word's ability to search out and replace any character, number, word, or phrase in any document, just once or as many times as you like.
Windows on the Word.
Word gives you 8 windows that allows you to edit or compare different documents simultaneously, or work on different areas of the same document, all in one display.
Get the Word.
Word is available at Software Supermarket, 16200 Hawthorne Boulevard, or call 213-207-1494. That's 213-207-1494.
Get the Word.
At Software Supermarket, a soft sell dealer.
Hi, this is Ellen, and I'm at the Famous Computer Cafe News and Salad Bar. So while we have a little bite to eat, let me tell you a little news. The publisher of the Brown Book has said that he developed his guide because of the vast opportunity in the used computer marketplace created by firms constantly trading for more suitable models. The pricing guide for used computer equipment is named for its publisher, Fred Brown of Brown Associates, and serves as a middleman for companies that want to move excess inventory. It lists more than 200 manufacturers and 600 individual models, retail price, the average selling price, consumer price, and a documented estimate of its marketplace value. According to MIS Week, Brown says his book serves only as a starting point for any negotiation of used computer equipment. Coleco Industries Incorporated announced last week that it has sold its inventory of Atom home computers to an unnamed retail chain due to substantial losses in the fourth quarter and full year of 1984. According to Online Today, Coleco said it would meet its obligations to owners of Atom home computers, but will sell the entire inventory, including hardware, peripherals, and software. Coleco will continue, however, to develop and produce software for the Atom. The size of the current losses was not disclosed. However, a year ago, Coleco lost $35 million on sales of $175 million in the fourth quarter. According to Online Today, and according to our reporters who went to the CES show, Atari introduced 2 new computer lines in Las Vegas. Atari presented a look-alike of Apple's Macintosh, the 130 ST, a 128K machine, and the 520 ST, a 512K version. They also announced a new series of 8-bit computers, including a $399 portable. As far as Atari is concerned, the new line represents the new tough marketing strategy of Jack Tramiel. Meanwhile, Online Today quotes analysts as saying that Commodore is planning a low-price Macintosh look-alike for 1985. This product, says Commodore's Vice President of Planning and Development, is a very important part of the company's future. New York's experiment with high-tech taxis is running into serious problems. Last summer, about 1,000 cabs installed computers and 2-foot by 3-inch electronic display screens. The idea was to flash ads at the riders and keep the fares down, but apparently it's not working. At one point, apparently, complaints from riders were coming in at the rate of 20 a day. People said the screens were annoying, gave them headaches, and made them dizzy and nauseous. That's all for the news today, and we'll be right back after this.
Bank Street Writer by Broderbund is the one-word processing program that is unpretentious enough to be used at home by both children and adults, yet is sophisticated enough to meet most small business needs, too. Bank Street Writer is packed with powerful features that have made it the most popular home word processing program in the world. There are no complex codes to memorize. Directions are at the top of the screen every step of the way. Bank Street Writer gives you sophisticated features like automatic word wrap, universal search and replace, automatic centering, and easy storage and retrieval of anything you write, complete with password protection. Bank Street Writer also comes complete with a special tutorial on the back of the disk that teaches the basics of word processing. A comprehensive reference manual and free backup disk are also included. Want to try your hand at Bank Street Writer? Then follow your feet down to Strictly Software at 14617 Prairie Avenue in Lawndale. Or you can call 213-970-1242. Strictly Software, a soft sell dealer.
Well, hello, this is Michael Walker. We're here at the famous Computer Cafe, and our guest today is Bill Atkinson. Now, many of you have heard the name, and if you haven't heard the name, this gentleman has made such an impact in the world of personal computers. I'm going to let him really kind of give you a little bit of his background. First of all, welcome to the cafe.
Thanks, Mike. It's good to be here.
You've been with Apple for like 7 years, and of course you've seen a lot of the innovations that Apple Computer has brought forth, and we're going to get into one of your major accomplishments a little bit in the program, but give me a little bit of historical perspectives as you've seen Apple be introduced into the world.
Well, it's been real exciting for me. When I came to Apple, there were 30 people there, and it wasn't really very sure whether it was going to amount to anything. And Apple's been sort of a second family to me, and it's been really exciting watching it grow and watching it have a big influence in steering the way that personal computers have developed.
So you were really intimately involved in the Apple II development and then the Lisa, right?
The 2 was already developed, and one of the first things that I did was to write a portfolio evaluator program for it, and then later to adapt the UCSD Pascal over to the 2. After that, I started working on designing the Lisa. I wrote the quick draw graphics primitives for it and did a lot of the early user interface design for it, some of the stuff that we use now on the Macintosh. And then later I started working on Mac, where I got to do an end application, the Mac Paint.
Where would you say is that turning point? I don't know, maybe it wasn't a turning point. Maybe it was an initial design of the Apple group to really create a computer that was for the rest of us. Was the computer that was really more for the home user and really more for lots of people who previously were more business oriented, but then all of a sudden we opened up the world of personal computers. I think Apple had probably more to do with that than anybody.
Yes. I think the first wave of people that were interested in personal computers were real excited that they could take the computer out of the computer center manager's hands and put it into one individual's hands. It was still, at that point, a computer for people who were interested in computing, who wanted to learn about bits and bytes, and probably the best thing that it did was teach about computers. It also played video games and did a little bit of word processing, but the main thing it did was teach people about computers. And I believe that was the Apple II. And I believe the Macintosh has gone the next step of making computers accessible to people who aren't interested in computers per se, who would use them as an appliance, but rather than as an end in themselves. They're not really interested in the bits and bytes part.
So it sounds to me like as you begin to create the software, like you designed Mac Paint, the idea of the Macintosh being for the rest of us is a truism. I mean, you really designed it for those people outside of the business environment, so to speak, and also those people, too, who weren't the hardcore data processing people.
Well, definitely. We got a lot of feedback from the Apple II and found out sort of where it wasn't working for people, and tried to learn from that and do a better job. Here's an analogy that I like to use to explain the difference between an Apple II or an IBM PC and a Macintosh. And that's that, just before the telephone was invented, there were 20,000 trained telegraph operators in the United States. And there were people saying, hey, this is a lot better than sending a messenger, and to improve communications, we should put one of these on every desk. Okay? And fundamentally, it wouldn't have flown because people wouldn't learn Morse code. The activation barrier was too high. There was a power there, but there was not access to the power. So along came the telephone, and it did the same basic job of communication over a distance. And it did it better. You know, you could have a more interactive dialogue. You could use inflections and shout and scream and sing. And so it did communication better. But that isn't why it succeeded. Not because it was better, but because it was more accessible. You didn't have to learn Morse code to use it. Okay? So now we look around us and we see people are trying to put Apple IIs and IBM PCs on every desk in corporate America, trying to improve personal productivity. And fundamentally, it can't fly because there's too much Morse code to pull through. Okay? So the Macintosh comes along and does basically the same things. It does word processing and spreadsheeting and graphics editing, and it does them better. It allows a more personal communication, allows you to use different fonts and different styles, allows you to even to paste pictures into your word processing, and so it does the communication better. But that isn't what will make it succeed. What will make it succeed is not that it does it better, but that it's more accessible. You don't have to learn Morse code to use it. That's the power. We think that Macintosh is the first telephone of personal computers.
You know, when we come back, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to get more into the whole development of Macintosh because it really has changed the direction of personal computers. We'll be back right after this. We're here with our guest, Bill Atkinson from the Apple team.
If Lotus had given you just one,
1. A spreadsheet that's up to 50 times faster than other spreadsheets, with every statistical and financial formula you'll ever need, and the largest workspace on the market.
that would have been enough. And if Lotus had given you just two,
2. Information management, to store and organize information with the ability to cross-index over 2,000 records by 32 criteria, and use information from other programs and computer systems.
that would have been enough. And if Lotus had given you just three,
3. Graphics, to graph information from your spreadsheet in less than 2 seconds, and change that information, touch a key, and graph the new results instantly. Graphics as a thinking tool.
that would have been enough.
But Lotus has given you more. Text editing, tutorials, a help key, and a host of features which give Lotus 123 its power and simplicity.
Lotus 123 is available at the Software Spot, 10977 Santa Monica Boulevard in West Los Angeles, or phone 213-477-7561. That's 213-477-7561.
The Software Spot, the oldest independently owned and operated software store in Los Angeles. A soft sell dealer.
We're back. This is Michael Walker, and we're here at the Famous Computer Cafe, and we've got a very delightful guest, a gentleman. His name is Bill Atkinson. And Bill, who has really worked with the Macintosh team, has been an individual who... You want to get the menu? Could we have the menu, please? Can we have the menu? No, that's okay. Seriously. Everything's happening at the cafe. Thank you very much. I'm curious, Bill. You're hungry? I'm curious. How did and why did the Macintosh evolve?
Well, I think early on, Jeff Raskin had an idea at Apple, that he wanted to build a less expensive computer. And he got together a team of a few people to start working on that. And as it became more of a real product or project within Apple, as Apple started realizing that it was they were really going to make something with it, Steve Jobs got more and more involved in it, and the project direction changed a lot. It changed a lot toward leveraging off a lot of the things we had learned in building the Lisa. And we wanted to, I think, make a Lisa that people could afford and make the computer that we would want. And so that was, I think, maybe it's guiding directive in terms of how do you decide what features go in and what don't, was that it had to be inexpensive enough that individual people could buy the darn thing, and it would be still have the radical new ease of use stuff that we'd been developing for Lisa.
Now, I understand that you guys, I've heard the word knowledge worker be kind of describe the Macintosh. What is that all about?
Oh, that's just a marketing buzzword. Really, all it means is Macs go on desks. Any place where there's a desk is a good place to put a Mac. And a knowledge worker is simply somebody who works with information, has to write letters, who has to compute numbers on a spreadsheet, who has to communicate. And that's in business, but it's also in homes, and it's a lot of different people. It's a college student. If pretty much knowledge workers are wherever there's desks.
Now, in order to really show off any kind of hardware, really what makes that thing happen is the software. Now, you specifically designed the Mac Paint product. Did you work with an artist in order to really help you design? I saw the beautiful picture of the woman on the computer and those different type of designs. What was that all about, and how did that even evolve?
Well, I think the most important thing when writing a piece of software, in order to get it to be understandable by most people, is to test it a lot, use it a lot on people. So use it both on beginners and also on experienced people. So I was fortunate enough to have our resident artist in the Mac software team, Susan Kerr, as one of my experienced users, and she would use the thing, bang on it every day. And the kind of feedback that she would give me would be a little different than beginning new Apple employees that I just throw it in front of and say, here, try this, and listen to what they had to say about it. So getting feedback both from experienced people like Susan Kerr, who was an artist and using it every day, and from beginner people who had never seen this thing before, it's real important to making a program so that it fits the way people think rather than sort of trying to convince people that it's their fault that they don't understand it.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Why do you feel that the Macintosh is the kind of a product that anybody can really pick up and learn in such a very short period of time?
Well, there are a lot of techniques that we use in order to make Macintosh more accessible to people. The first is the mouse, and that allows a lot of things where pointing is a natural thing to do. Like in a word processor, it's real important that you concentrate on the phrasing and the words you're going to use rather than the mechanics of making the stupid word processor work. And instead of figuring out up, over in big jumps and then over in little jumps and working on the strategy of working the word processor, you want to concentrate on the content at hand. The mouse helps an awful lot in that sense. The next things are making abstract things concrete and physical. So instead of having an abstract concept of scrolling, you put a scroll bar up there that they can see and touch. And making things that you can recognize rather than recall. For example, all the commands of a program you can scan by scanning across the menu bar, and each menu flips down and you see what all the options you have are. So you get this feeling that you see what's available to you instead of there's this big soup of commands out there that someday I'll learn. Instead of remembering, gee, was it delete or destroy or kill or cut, you just look on the menu and you can recognize it rather than trying to recall it and type it in. There are a lot of techniques that we use in order to make the computer more accessible to people. One of the techniques that we use to make programs more accessible is having a consistent user interface, so that once you learn how to use one program, you don't have to relearn everything from scratch to use another one. You notice on Macintosh that they all use the pull-down menus, and they all use, even the different menus are usually in the same place on the different programs, so that it makes it a familiar environment. That's one of the techniques that we use. Another is we heavily use graphics to make things more immediately visible. Like in a word processor, just clicking on a little, like showing the margin as a little margin arrow, and you just pull on that little margin arrow. That makes it so that not only is it easier to do, but once you see how to set the margins, you can never forget that. Whereas if you had a set the margins command, it would be very easy to forget.
It seems to me like you guys have taken such a radical approach, which seems so human, which seems so natural, and that I think is one of the reasons why the Macintosh has become so successful. We're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, guys, we'll talk a little more about the Macintosh and some of the new software that's out for that, and really kind of the future and where you guys are going with this thing. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.
Start with the world's best-selling database system. Give it enhanced features to make it faster, more powerful, and easier to use, and you have the makings of a software heavyweight. DBase 3, Ashton Tate's hot new package for your 16-bit PC. With DBase 3, you can create records with up to 128 fields, access 10 files at once, and run other programs like communications or word processing without leaving DBase 3. You can read non-DBase files from other software programs or mainframe databases. And you can easily convert your DBase 2 files and programs to DBase 3. If you get stuck, help is at your fingertips with multiple help screens. And where do you go to see this powerful new program? Go see David and Betty Sun at Sun Computers in the city of Carson. They'll tell you what you need to know about DBase 3 and more. Sun Computers is located at 20925 South Bonita in Carson. Or call 213-538-8338. That's 213-538-8338. Sun Computers in Carson, a soft cell dealer.
Today I'd like to discuss Multiplan by Microsoft.
What's a multiplan?
It's a spreadsheet program for your IBM PC or your Macintosh.
Well, what do you do with a multiplan?
Use it to make forecasts.
Oh, you mean like what the weather will be?
No, more like whether or not.
Oh, can I join Multiplan?
No, you don't join it, silly. You use it. It's a tool designed with non-computer people in mind to help you manage your business and plan for the future.
A tool? Oh, you mean like a hammer?
Well, if you're looking for a way to hit the nail on the head, use Multiplan to build your worksheet. Enter the formulas you normally use to do budgets or cash flow analysis or financial planning, and then let Multiplan do the calculations while you sit back and watch.
Well, where can I see it?
At Software Center International, located at 22543 South Hawthorne Boulevard in Torrance, or call 213-378-9225. That's 213-378-9225. Software Center International, a soft cell dealer.
We're back here at the famous Computer Cafe. Our guest has been Bill Atkinson, and we've been talking about the Macintosh and the different kind of software and really why they've designed a product that is really for the rest of us, a product that we can use. And it's, as I said before we just went to the break, it's that kind of a sense that it's really more of a natural way to use a personal computer. Now, there are a lot of different products that are now coming out for the Macintosh. What are some of the ones that you've seen that you're somewhat impressed with and you think that are kind of interesting that people out there in general might want to appreciate using?
Well, I've been real impressed with the way people have been using graphical information and bringing computers out of the numbers and text era of information and into the pictures. That's an important part of information. File Vision is an application that I've been particularly impressed with that mixes database and graphics in a very creative way that's much more powerful than either alone. An application that I've just put out myself, Mac Vision, is another major step in that direction. It's a video input for the Macintosh, where you can take the output of a video camera or a videotape and play it into the Macintosh and paste it into the middle of your word processing document, or paste it into MacPaint and then edit it and manipulate it. Images and pictures are an important part of information, and they communicate often much better than words and numbers. I see in the long run more and more applications on Macintosh heading toward use of graphics and handling visual information as well as numerical and textual information.
with the advent of Mac Paint and Mac Write, when that combination came out, we began to see the possibilities of taking a letter that you have in XYZ Corporation, and you guys use the example of a tennis shoe, being able to put a tennis shoe on the letter. But what you're really saying is you take the printed information and then take graphical information, and now you can send a letter or a document with all those things together. Now you're about ready to say, with this Mac Vision, now I can take a picture of me doing the letter and put that on my letter along with the text information.
Right. All of it is focusing on more personal communication. We give you different type styles and different text attributes like bold and italic and underlined and shadowed and type styles from Old English to Times Roman to make more personal communication. Putting pictures in, again, helps make more personal communication and better communication. I can communicate a concept better often in a picture than I can in words. And the Mac Vision, by being able to bring video input into your Macintosh, makes it all the more easy to get pictures into Macintosh and enhance personal communication. There's something very pleasant about receiving a letter that has a picture in it. That, like I sometimes send a picture of my five-week-old daughter to friends that I'm trying to describe what's happening in my life, and they get that letter, and there's much more personal content in it.
What's your daughter's name?
Laura Jean.
5 weeks old. That's great. That's great. I kind of got a little sidetracked there. We're about ready to have a baby ourselves, so that's kind of neat. You know, the interesting thing that I see about this whole world of personal computers, and really with the Macintosh and the type of software that you can use, is that the ideas that people are starting to come up with are probably even outside of the realm of what you were imagining were possible. Have you heard of some interesting things that people are doing that you thought, I didn't know we could do that?
Well, I'm always amazed. I look at some of the things that are just now coming out for the Apple II after 6 or 7 years, and they're amazing. Well, I try to extrapolate from that, and I say, okay, we've got a much more powerful machine here, the Macintosh, and it's in its infancy. It's a sort of a bare, raw tool, and the things that will be coming out for it in, say, like when it's 5 years old, will probably just blow our minds away. It's real hard for me to even picture how things are going to develop. It's such an wide open tool that what will be built on it is a wide open future.
When we come back, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll wrap things up in this last segment. We'll come back and kind of talk about a little bit about that future. We're here with Bill Atkinson at the Famous Computer Cafe. Stay tuned, everybody.
SuperCalc 3 by Sourcem is a spreadsheet that's extremely easy to use, swift, and powerful, and it's priced lower than most other leading spreadsheet programs. SuperCalc 3 has all the built-in functions expected in a high-quality spreadsheet, and a lot more. SuperCalc 3's features include an on-screen help function, spreadsheet consolidation and sorting capabilities, calendar and date calculations, simple data management, functions, and windowing. The integrated graphics capability is superbly presented, allowing plotting and printing of charts in up to 99 colors. SuperCalc 3 provides you with the ability to create pie charts, bar charts, line charts, and XY graphs. The graphics are integrated into the command structure, so once you learn SuperCalc 3, plotting and graphing the results of your calculations is as easy as pie. To get a taste of the simplicity and power of SuperCalc 3, walk into Simply Software, where they'd love to whip up a quick demonstration. Simply Software is located at 3001 Sepulveda Boulevard in Manhattan Beach, or call 213-546-2467. That's 213-546-2467. Simply Software, a soft sell dealer.
Well, Andy, I'll tell you, just decided during the break, there's just far too many things that I'd like to ask Bill for us to quit. And so we're going to invite him back tomorrow.
I'll tell you, it's a real treat having him here at the cafe. I could listen for hours. It's just fantastic. We want to thank our engineer, Rick Burnett, and want to let you guys know that the Famous Computer Cafe comes to you here on KFOX 93.5 every day, every weekday, Monday through Friday, at 10 a.m. and at 7:30 p.m.
The executive producers are Michael Walker, Andrew Velkoff, and Ellen Walker. Listen, guys, drive safely, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Take care.